Hi guys, I thought I'd do a quick update video on the Civic so that everybody knows exactly where the car's at. It's been on the dyno, obviously it made some good power. It had some valve train issues because I chose to use lash caps. If you follow me on Instagram, aaron.o'neill.547, you've probably seen some of this on Facebook. I haven't really got into all of the details other than I took a shortcut, it didn't work out. Got back on the dyno with the proper stuff because it finally came back into stock, and the half shaft broke. So let's flip to that real quick. So this sheared straight in the plane of where it bolts, kind of bolts like this actually. The tire half shaft dropped, started banging and clanging, and it would sit in the car something like this. Put a weird angle on the axle. The splines were fine in the diff. The transmission was fine. Didn't seem like I had third gear for some reason. So I pulled it, even though there was no metal in the oil. We put the window case back on it. TJ, our transmission guy, went through and he found minor stuff, but no real reasons why it felt like it had neutraled third. So we had to fix this. You can see we have some test weld spots. So our fabricator, Brad, boxed this whole thing in, built a really beefy ultra bracket. And then when I posted pictures of this, one of our friends, Franklin, told me that, hey, if you happen to have one of the ultra rare 03CL manuals, it's all cast iron. So he was very, very nice, sent it to me. I kept asking him, hey dude, how much? Wouldn't tell me a price. I wanted to pay him for the shipping, and he said, no, just put it in your car. So I thought I'd do the next best thing. So CL Motorsports really hooked it up. He's not going to do that probably for anybody, but he did it for me. So I'm very thankful that he took care of me on this. You can see this is the window case for the dog box. So we can see internal as it's getting set up. And the car is on the lift right now. So we're getting ready to put the trans back in and axles, and I want to double check some of my sensors. I think my EMAP sensor might be going kaflooey. But we're going to cover one other thing here. I have a very, very awesome intercooler core from CSF. This is the Magnum. It's 6 inches. It's 18 by 13, I believe. And then Joe at Triel did the end tanks. ETS did one of them. I think it's a modified Supra, actually. But because I normally run a closed off front end, we'll cut to a picture. There's very little airflow that is going to get to this. So when it was in air or water, it didn't matter. The radiator drew air from underneath and it laid horizontal. But now we have the radiator sitting back there, and you can kind of see what my new mods are going to be. But this is where all the airflow to the radiator and intercooler is going to go. And we're going to shroud from here to here. So what I did is I bought a nitrous spray bar for the intercooler. And I'm not going to beat around the bush. I used to make fun of people that had these. And then we started doing some testing probably 10 years ago. These things work really, really good. There is a video in the description that you can click on and see it in action on the Subaru. They do a thermal imaging picture, and it is amazing the difference that it makes. So this particular one probably sit something like this, little cattywampus there. And as the spray bar is spraying through the intercooler, it'll also hit the radiator. And then we have a vent, so we'll get some extraction through there at high speed. So between the limited airflow and this, hopefully the intake air temps will stay under control. And it's a complete kit. It's $290 from Summit. One thing that I believe very strongly in is not asking for things. My friends are in business, I'm in business, or we are in business. I guess it's not mine. But anyway, point is, we're all here trying to make a living, so I'm not going to ask for anything for free because that's immoral. And sponsorship is never free. It always comes at a price. And I'm kind of lazy, so this way I don't owe anybody anything. However, I will always take the time to show people a good product that I do believe in. Nitrous Outlet makes a lot of stuff that we've used over the years and works really good. Just like how I like my precision turbos. Don't get it for free, but hey, you know what? It's okay, it works. CSF cooling system works very good. So 31 pounds of boost, 1200 horse. This particular car was only like 4 or 5 degrees over ambient temp. And then that was with our carpet dryer fan, which if you've ever been here or been to a dyno, is very, very small. ASB intake manifold sitting up there being pretty. Obviously the Trio turbo kit, just absolute work of art. I'm gonna drop the car down and we're gonna go to the next thing that I wanted to talk about a little bit more, which is the air oil separator on this car. So I always find it funny that we get in the habit as humans of thinking, oh, well, this part is for that, or this part is for this, and don't realize how universal stuff is sometimes. So on that note, we have an IAG race air oil separator. Has some really cool swirl technology. You can go to their website, links in the description, see how it works. It has options for coolant to help cook condensation out of your oil. It'll, on a Subaru, you can actually hook it back up to drain. I think you can kind of see it down there right here. Drain port, you can drain it back in the block if you want. Because this car is methanol, I'm not doing that, because primarily what this actually catches on my car, at any rate, is methanol. It condenses it back out of the fuel. So what we get here is Motion Raceworks, give them a plug, Dash 12 breathers, 2 of those. Come over here to this little can, which is about, I think, a liter capacity, something like that. I added an 1.25 inch, 1.5 inch, can't quite recall right now, breather. But because of the marvels of geometry, the surface area of my 2 breathers versus this is substantially larger. So the pressure differential that creates, i.e. low pressure, or in this case, nothing above ambient, lets the oil drains in the block work correctly. So the oil drains into the pan where it belongs, and that just catches schmuck and whatever else, and then I can drain that out. And yes, that is a plumbing fitting because, you know, race car. So when I asked IAG about buying one of these, they're like, you're going to put it on a what? I said, I'm going to put it on a Civic with a V6, because for $389, this thing is an absolute steal. It works great on every Subaru I've ever run it on. Don't blow dipstick tubes out, or the dipstick out of the dipstick tube, I should say. It does its job because it is engineered very well. And oddly, you can't quite see it, but down in there somewhere is the bracket they supply for a 2004 to 2007 STI, and it bolts to my V6 like no mods. It's sitting there, hanging there like it was meant to be. So anyway, that kind of covers some of the updates, some of the parts that are on this car. Like I said, I think the EMAP sensor having a hard time, so I'm going to swap that out with a new 100 PSI sensor. Pardon me, sensor. Figure that one out. But we're going to get the transmission back in the car, get it back on the dyno, get it ready for an event. Because that's the whole point. Race cars aren't any fun if you don't race them. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you're having fun racing, staying cool. It was 115 here last weekend, so getting back to this weekend. Of course, it's a long weekend because of the holiday, so I'll have extra time to actually get something done. Okay, guys, take care.